When we go to the beach, one of the things that we might do to entertain ourselves is drive over big logs that the tide brings in. If we were in the mountains, we'd do the same thing with rocks and boulders. Bear in mind, this is not serious four-wheeling. We're just enjoying the day, relaxing, and having some fun. And in that regard, here I am, minding my own business, not bothering anyone. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just goofing around, trying to see if I can go slow and still have the front end grab enough traction on that sandy log to pull my rig up and over it. And you know, I do technically end up getting up and over this log, and I might even have made it on my own, but I end up getting some help from my brother Steve and my friend Brent. They were watching and offering helpful encouragement by explaining that they had just gone over the log and it was remarkably easy. And in fact, it was so easy that they didn't even air down, and they didn't even use four-wheel drive. Here's what they said.
You went up it no problem?
Yeah, I think we're I was in two-wheel drive too.
Yeah.
And I didn't let any air out of my tires either.
And so, of course, this is all very helpful for me to hear. And I think to myself, as I often do in these situations, wow, it's a priceless gift to have such knowledge freely given. And in fact, that priceless gift gave me just the right amount of incentive to get over the log, as you can see here. Now, this is technically over the log. And since I successfully drove over the log, I decided to park my vehicle there for a while. I wasn't stuck, and it's very important to always point out to others when you are parking and when you are stuck. And that all brings me to the topic of this video, which is the rules of engagement. Now, if you have sharp eyes, you will have noticed that the log I was parking on was actually a different log than the one I was trying to get over. It is still subject to the rules of engagement, as I'll explain in a little while. First, here's some fun video of us on the beach as I explain exactly what the rules of engagement are. You see, in our group, we go out to have a good time. We don't take ourselves too seriously, and that inevitably leads to us poking fun at each other. And I want to emphasize that this is just fun banter among friends. So absolutely nothing in this video is intended to be mean-spirited, and we never put each other in danger. But there is definitely a pattern in our interactions of what I would call fun-loving sarcasm. And this pattern lends itself to a framework of behavior that has come to define our overlanding trips and our relationships. So for purposes of this video, we will call that framework the rules of engagement of overlanding. Rule 1 is, friends help you get stuck proper. You see, real friends are not going to let you be in some weak sauce stuck situation. They will rally and they will make sure you are stuck proper. And you are not stuck proper until you've reached that threshold where people begin to take their phones out and take pictures and wonder to themselves, now just how did that happen? So for example, this log I showed you that I was stuck on at the beginning of the video started out as a relatively benign situation. I was definitely not stuck proper. Fortunately, my brother Steve, who is expert in Rule 1, was there. Here's how he helped.
Hit it! I'm trying to get him to bury it.
It's working! My friend Brent was also concerned, and he wanted to make sure the log was stuck proper. We won't tolerate mediocre outcomes in our group.
But it was fun, right? One more?
One more.
A few more beans and we're good.
Thanks, Steve. I take back half of what I said about you.
Did it leave a scar on that log?
No, it all looks good. It left a scar, but the truck looks good.
Good.
Now, after your friends have selflessly come to your aid, I definitely recommend reciprocating as soon as possible with a Rule 2 scenario. And that is, you'll definitely clear that. And here's a good example of that in practice where we were able to, with absolute conviction, tell Brent that he could clear that log. Can you turn it to real hard passenger? and it might grab the log and just pull you back up. Nice and slow, but it's just like almost. Well, we did two things as good friends. First, we made a meme. Never pass up an opportunity to make a meme. And second, we helped him get off the log. And speaking of memes, here's another one we did. This one just cracks me up. I have a vision of a guy running around the beach yelling, "Here, shark, here, shark." All right, rule number 3. No matter what, and this is very important, doesn't matter what the circumstances are, always claim that it is the other guy that in fact is the slow one. Here's Steve doing that masterfully.
See that whoop section? See how slow he went over him?
All right, and moving on to number 4, it is always be considerate and offer helpful suggestions. Steve, if you want to just back your rig right into the surf up to about the axles, I'll pull it out. And this was mentioned earlier, but it's important, so let's make sure it is actually on the list.
I just want to make sure I video this because he'll edit and try and make it look like
It's not stuck. I parked there.
See?
I'm parking for lunch. So other than those we've mentioned, there's lots of fun rules of engagement. And I'll just run some video of our beach trip in the background while I talk about some of these other rules of engagement. For example, if you've ever found yourself standing around with a group of guys in front of a wall so steep and so loose that it takes the air out of your lungs just to look at it, and the guy at the base of the hill asks, "Is it doable?" And you hear someone say, "Oh yeah, you probably don't even need four-wheel drive." That's code for, dude, you're probably going to kill yourself, or at least it's code for exactly the opposite of what the person's telling you. It means it's harder than it looks, you need to air down, and you really do need to be in four-wheel drive. If in your group you guys use some of these rules of engagement just for pranking one another or for poking fun at one another, I'd really be interested in hearing them. Let me know what they are. I'm looking for some fun practical jokes to play on my brother. If you have any great ideas, probably DM me on Instagram so he doesn't see them. A couple of you guys have sent me some really good ones that I'll be pulling out of the basket here pretty soon. So this video has been a departure from our normal content. It's really just a goofball video that we had some fun with. We were not really trying to trick each other into getting stuck. It took some careful editing together with some less careful driving to pull that off. I hope you had some laughs watching it. It's all good fun, guys. Thanks for watching.